team to beat.
Yep.
The energy from the home crowd.
And they could be facing them in the round of 16.
And
could
that's
be
what the odds makers in London say also.
Yep. Correct.
They probably do it in that British accent. Time for us to go viral.
I like
Danny
that
Green scored. We all like that lady. Danny Green scored 18 points. All of them came from the three-point line. It was a much-needed breakout performance, and he got a much-needed pep talk. What?
Well, just real quick, before we get to the viral, I don't know why they would have a British accent for the World Cup that's in France, but go right ahead, Jenna.
Because it was...
Yeah, don't get punched.
Okay, don't get punched. Anyway, he got a much-needed pep talk from a friend pregame. Take a listen.
I saw about Danny when I was in Cleveland. Guy didn't get a lot of playing time, but he practiced hard. You know, he battled against, Boobie Gibson, LeBron James every day. And, I told him, I said, look, I play with a lot of shooters. And I'm not going to tell you how to mess your shot because I've never been a shooter, but I played with D. Scott. I played with guys, Jeff Turner. Every time they left it, just leave it up there. I've seen Stojakovic. I played with Rick Fox, Big Shot Bob. Every time they leave it, it goes in. So I used to always tell him, just leave it. And then, he went on and played with the Spurs. Like, I'd go down there and see him, and I always tell him, I just brought him over here because I saw him messing around in the warm-ups. I said, hey, man, this is the finals. Leave it and stop effing around. Get your game right.
Yes, here is the video of the whisper around the basketball world.
And it wasn't a nice whisper. I wish I could repeat what I said.
That's great. Go ahead, Steve.
Shaq doesn't mess around. I mean, he encourages teammates. He don't have a whole bunch of words. Stop messing around. Shoot the ball like you used to be able to shoot the ball.
And Danny Green and Shaq briefly played together in Cleveland.
Yes.
Danny Green was young and Shaq was old. Danny Green also, I read this, Mike Adams had this. 35 guys in finals history have taken at least 53s. The only one shooting about 50% is Danny Green.
Wow.
He was unbelievable in the 2013 finals from three, 2014, and now the 2019.
Didn't Danny Green keep the streak alive as far as either people that have been connected with Shaq or something, 35 years NBA finals
in the
and
NBA
everything?
finals, absolutely right.
Yeah, my other stat guy, I got a guy I'm trying to groom to
Kind of like
take
this,
over.
Jenna, like the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon. There's the 2 degrees of Shaquille O'Neal in the NBA finals.
6 and yes. Time for stories to start your morning. Steph Curry was forced to essentially be Golden State's entire offense last night. And he did about all you could have asked. 47 points in the loss, the second most in a losing effort in finals history, behind LeBron's 51 in Game 1 last year. See, how impressive was Steph last night?
Super impressive. Not only just with the points and everything. To me, it's about the effort. Also, I'm going to put myself out there. Great players put themselves out there that they can be embarrassed. He came out firing from all over the court. And we knew going into this game without Klay, without KD, he's going to have to take some bad shots. But to me, in this NBA, Steph Curry, as long as he's past half court, I trust him. But, man, the guts he showed last night I thought were special.
And I'm going to use one of my favorite words. He was indefatigable, man. He couldn't get tired. Yeah, I knew you'd say that. That's why it's one of my favorites. Think about how hard his job was last night.
Yeah, I wanted to correct you earlier. You said he played 44 minutes. He actually played 43
minutes and 15 seconds.
Okay,
correct. You're right. But we're going to round up. He was so good.
Yes.
I think you can have the finest game of your career in a loss. And I think that's what that was for Steph Curry last night. I'm sure he wouldn't call it his best game because they didn't win, but he was unbelievable.
And it goes to prove you might be on the losing team, but that don't make you a loser. No. Steph Curry was special.
All right, moving on to Boogie Cousins. Did not have a special night last night. He had a strong Game 2, a bad Game 3. 4 points, 3 rebounds, and 19 minutes of work. And he had to leave the game early, but is expected to be fine. Nick, what'd you make of Boogie's struggles?
I think that we had probably improper expectations based on what he did in Game 2. The team thought he could only play 20 minutes in Game 2. He was pressed into service because Kevon Looney got hurt, and it changed the math, and he was effective. But see, this was a guy who couldn't jump very high 2 injuries ago. Now, post-Achilles, still dealing with something of a quad injury. He's not going to be fully healthy from that until the offseason. He doesn't look like he can get 6 inches off the ground, and he was a liability last night.
When we saw him in Game 1, it was fool's gold.
Game 2.
We thought that, oh, man, like, you know what? We'll put another 15 minutes on it, and he'll just get better. No. You can't miss 45 days on the job, NBA, your cardio, all the things that go back in it. Now, he did a marvelous job as far as getting getting back. He thought about quitting after he tore his quad. But this is the price of being an NBA player. They had a better scouting report on him. They realized he couldn't finish at the rim. Don't foul him and bail him out. And he's a liability on defense. Let's put him in the pick and roll.
And we spent so much time talking about the impact of Clay's injury. You know what injury showed up last night as well? Kevon Looney's. They could have absolutely used him defensively in place of some of those boogie minutes.
All right, finally, the Raptors dominated a depleted Warriors team. Kawhi Leonard leading the way with 30 points. We said he would need his role players, and last night they delivered. Big night for Toronto starting five, each scoring at least 17 points. Nick, how impressive was their balanced effort in this win?
I can't remember a game in the finals where everyone that took a shot at least 50%, where nobody had an off night. A game in the finals where every starter, we hear about games all starters get to double digits. It's 10 points, 11 points. Everyone gets to 17 points.
And I'd be shocked if you saw it where it was on the road.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about that element of it, where you don't have the home crowd juicing you up throughout. And by the way, they needed it. It would have been one thing if this was 125-89, where it was that the Warriors rolled over and played dead, and it wasn't a concern at any point that the Raptors could lose. The Raptors were in jeopardy multiple times, and then Danny Green hit a three, and Kyle Lowry hit a three.
Yep.
Hell, the end of the first quarter, Steph races down, gets a three with about 14 seconds left, and to cut it to 4.
Yes.
And guess what? They come back down, Danny Green hits a corner three. It was an all-around effort. And then on the bench, you had Serge Ibaka, who offensively just 2 of 4, and he comes in with the best defense I've seen him play since he was wearing Oklahoma City Thunder jersey. He was a monster in the second half defensively. It was truly, they played 7 guys significant minutes. All 7 guys made their impact felt on this game.
Now, you said yesterday, you talked about Kyle Lowry and how if they're going to win, Kyle Lowry is going to need to step up. And he did 23 points, 5 3-pointers in this one. How effective was he, and how much did Kawhi need him?
Kyle Lowry's game was so important. Not only did he help stabilize the backcourt, but some of that firepower that Steph from the backcourt, because Van Fleet came in, him and Danny Green, they had a great 3-guard rotation. But Kyle Lowry's ability to be able to score without a design play and his ability to be able to shoot from deep, it opened up the defense. It made him generate a lot of attention to that side of the court. So even with that attention, he could swing the ball and get someone else's shot. The Warriors knew and they respected his game, so it opened up the court. It gave Kawhi a chance that he could rest a little bit on the offensive end, so when he wanted to have a burst that he didn't run out of gas. I thought Kyle Lowry was special. Game number 1, I thought he was just okay because the other people, Siakam played so well, and his point total was down, but the way he ran the game, I think, was efficient. Game number 2, I expect better from him. He's back to where he was playing in the Milwaukee series. They don't have a chance unless he is. We have to have an argument. Is he the second or third best player? But he's got to play like he's the second best player, and when he does, they're a tough team.
And he almost got himself in trouble. I text you when it happened because the fouling 30 feet, 60 feet, 90 feet from the basket, which is how he fouled out of game 2, which was a really poor game by him. There was a sequence in the second quarter where he had back-to-back fouls.
Yeah, late in the second quarter.
Far away from the basket. It was giving the Warriors free throws, and it's like, what are you doing? He didn't pick up another foul the rest of the game. He picked up his 3rd foul with about 2 minutes left in the second quarter, finished the game with only 3 fouls, but it really was everybody. And Danny Green, who shot 11% from 3 in the conference finals, has already made more threes through 3 games of the NBA finals than he did through 6 games of the conference finals. If he can hit those open corner threes, which he's going to get, he is such an asset because he's such a good long defensive player.
Another number to watch is watch 100. You said their starters scored 106 of the 123. This year, when their starters scored 100 points, they're 7-0. So let's just watch as we go on. If their starters can get to 100, good chance the Raptors are going to win.
And one thing, because we're talking about the whole cast, what shouldn't be lost in the shuffle is Kawhi Leonard, who's clearly not 100%.
No.
He found a way to moderate himself, had a big impact early, had a big impact late. You look, it seemed like he had a quiet game. You look, oh, he had 37 and 6, first game of the series, above 50% from the field. He had, going into the game, had only made 13 field goals. He made 9 in last night's game. He once again got to the free throw line double-digit times. So now he's been to the free throw line 39 times. He's 36 of 39 from the line through 3 games, which is obviously spectacular. And he was a little more impactful defensively in this game than we'd seen him. But he was the best player for the Raptors.
You do see that he is hampered by his legs a little bit, and he was struggling a little bit and hobbled. But last night he got help from his teammates. Let's move on to talk